In today's MATLAB lesson, we will be learning about selection statements. Selection statements are used to compare two different things, usually variables, and if those variables meet the condition, then MATLAB is told to run a set of instructions, and once those set of instructions are complete, then the statement stops. So to first learn, we need to figure out what comparison is in MATLAB. So MATLAB uses these 6 algebraic statements to determine and compare different variables, usually based upon their value. So we can check to see if a variable is less than another variable or less than a number. We can see if it's less than or equal to this number, greater than, equal to, and then equal to. We can also check if it's not equal to, which is the tilde followed by one equal sign. So in MATLAB, we're very familiar with using the equal sign already, but more in terms of using it to assign a variable value. So if I were to assign a the value of 1, it looks very much like this. And the reason this is important because we're differentiating between using one equal sign and two equal sign. So in general, I like to use the term assign whenever I see one equal sign, and I will use the term equals when I see 2. Because what I'm doing here in MATLAB, what I'm telling MATLAB to do is I'm telling MATLAB to assign the value of 1 to the letter A, and that's what it's doing. But when I have two equal signs, for instance, what I'm asking MATLAB to do is compare these two things. Is 1 equal to 1? And then it will print out in the command window, yes, it's equal to 1, or no, it's not equal to 1, using the binary code, which is 0 is false and 1 is true. So false means no, and true means yes. So we will hit run, and we will see that it does in fact equal 1. And we knew this. So we can also test the opposite if and compare is 1 equal to 2. And we expect to see the case where we get the answer no, it's not. So we expect to see 0. And in fact, it does change to 0. So you can use all these different comparisons, statements, or commands in selection statements, and we will go into how to use selection statements. So a selection statement begins and always begins with the word if, and always ends with the word end, to tell MATLAB to start here and end here. And then followed after the word if, we need to tell MATLAB what to compare or look at. So we're going to tell MATLAB to look at A, which is an undefined variable currently, so we'll go ahead and define our variable. A is equal to 1, and B is equal to 0, and we'll suppress both of these. And so if A is equal to 1, then what we want MATLAB to do is we want B to equal 1 as well. Okay, so what MATLAB will do here is MATLAB will assign A the value of 1. It will then assign B the value of 0. And then it will find this if statement and go, okay, let's compare these two things. Is A equal to 1? And it will go up here, find, yep, A is equal to 1. So that's true. So then it lets B assign the value of 1. And then B's value changes. And then it stops. So after this, we will display B. Okay. And we'll run this. So yep, B equals 1. If a was not equal to 1, let's say 0, then b equals 0. Or it doesn't have to be 0, it could be any number. B equals 5. And b will still equal 0 because this condition has not been met, and therefore b will not change in value. So we expect to see b is equal to 0. And there enough, it is equal to 0. Okay. So these statements are very basic. We can move on and learn if this condition is met, do this, and then if it's not met, do a different thing. So that's where we use the word else. And else it requires its own set of instructions. So it's asking if b is equal to 1, and it's not, then do this. So we'll say b is equal to, or is assigned the value of 4. So then eventually if we do this again, a is not equal to 1, so we expect b to be assigned the value of 4. So we'll run it, and sure enough, b is assigned the value of 4. But this works for any number. It's not very concise or specific. It's just if it's not equal to 1, do this set of instructions. So that would work for if 5 was, or if a was 6, 7, 8, or 9, 10, anything. But what if we want to check it as well at, let's say the value of 7, or let's do this for, let's make b assign the value of 4 for any number that's less than 10. So we'll say a is less than 10, and if it's less than 10, it'll give it b. Now we'll have to change our else into an else if, and then it'll look at both these things and it'll do that. And then we also, in addition, we can also use the else statement to encapsulate anything else, because these two conditions only look at if it's equal to 1 or if it's less than 10. So let's say if it were 11, b would still equal 0. But now we have another condition set. Okay, if it's not equal to 1 and it's greater than 10, then we want b to be assigned the value of 100. So a is equal to 5, so it's not equal to 1, and it is less than 10, so we expect the value of 4. But let's change that to 5 or 6, so we see a different result in the command window. And let's press this, and we'll run this. So we see b gets assigned the value of 6. Now let's see what happens if we were to make a the value, or assign it the value of 11. So that's greater than 10, and it's not 1, so we expect to see b change to the value of 100. So there we go, b is assigned the value of 100. Okay, so if and else if and else are very powerful in MATLAB and many other coding softwares. It's pretty universal in coding in general, and it allows you to do a lot of different cool things. So we're going to now go into a example asking us if we want to calculate the area of a rectangle, circle, or triangle. So this is an actual application, and you will probably use these selection statements in the majority of your codes and scripts and functions from here on out. So we'll begin by asking the user to choose what they want, and we will actually be using a relatively advanced method to ask you this, but it's really not that hard. It's just another input or already built-in function that you will definitely use in the future, or the near future really, and it's called menu. So we'll say shape is assigned to menu, and then menu of what? So we'll ask it to write the string out, please choose a shape. And the reason that I am using the menu function in this case is because I don't want my user to use or select something that's not one of these three things. I don't want my user to select something that's a parallelogram or something else in using a different function that would allow you to input a shape into this. And if that shape didn't exist, it just couldn't run through my if statement, and no area would be displayed or calculated. So we're going to limit the user to choosing one of three different choices, which would be a rectangle, a circle, and a triangle. Okay, so basically what menu does is it assigns the value of choice to the variable shape. So rectangle is going to be equal to the value of 1, circle will be equal to the value of 2, and triangle will be equal to the value of 3. So then I want to begin my if statement. So if this, and then I also want to get in the good habit of starting to throw in my end right away so that we never lose track of how many ifs or ends we have in our script, because in the future we'll be using other functions that you require you to use, or not functions, but well, functions that require end and loops that require the word end, and there can be a lot of them, and you just want to be as organized as possible. So there's end, and now we're going to start writing our if statement. So if shape is equal to 1, then we want it to do this, and we'll have it have us ask the dimensions of the rectangle. So we'll do length assign input, and we'll have it ask type in the length of this rectangle, or the rectangle, and then the user will type that in, and that will assign that value to length. And then we'll have width, and we'll do the exact same thing. So we can just copy and paste that and replace length with width. Okay, so it's good. Then assign those two values to length and width, and then we'll call area is equal to length times width. Okay, and we'll suppress that. Then we want to check the condition. Okay, well, I decided I want to choose circle, so that would be if shape is equal to the value of 2, because 2 is the second choice, and shape will be assigned the value of 2 if you choose the second choice, and the value of 3 if you were to choose the third choice. So we need another equal sign there, and so we will make that 2, and then we need to ask or input the radius. So we will assign the radius with the, again, the input function. So input type the desired radius, and then we will suppress that, and then area will equal to pi r squared, so pi times radius, and then we'll square that. Okay. And then finally, if it's neither the rectangle or the circle, and you were to choose triangle, then we're going to use the else statement, and that'll be ask us to input our base. So base is equal to input, and we'll write our string, type the desired base of the triangle, and we'll copy this for height, and we need to suppress that, and we need to suppress that. And we need to change base to height, suppress it, and then calculate the area. So area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. It's always good to get in the practice of leaving spaces in between these two things. Okay. And then it will end, and we need to print the actual area of whatever we chose. So we use the fprintf statement. This may be the first time you're seeing this. It's very simple to use. It just prints out this string, whatever you decide to type in here, and then you can use it to print out the actual variable that you want. So we'll say the area of your shape is, and then we'll use the %, and that's like a placeholder that tells MATLAB where to put the variable's value, and then we'll tell it we want it to do whole numbers and \n. Okay, and then we will say area. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to ask us, please choose one of these shapes. You choose one of these shapes, and then if it's the first shape, which is a rectangle, it's going to do this set of instructions and calculate this area, and then it will print that out. So we're going to run this. 17. Oh, I need a multiplication there. Alright. So rectangle, type in the length of rectangle 1, type in the width of the rectangle 2, so we should see area is 2. Okay, circle, desired radius is 3, and the area of circle is 28. And also don't forget to use units. I didn't use units, but this is also just an example. So let's see, and we'll test the last one. So again, it gives us a menu box that asks us to please choose a shape, and let's say I want the triangle. So type in the desired height of, or the base of the triangle, and we'll say that is 3, and let's say that the height is also 3. So then the area of my triangle is 5. So this is pretty much how to use if, else if, and else statements. Again, these are pretty basic. You can use any of these symbols in your if-then statements, and then you can also use, this is cool, because you may want to check for more than one condition to be met, the and or not. So simply you would put in here, this isn't going to work, but it's just a example. If you were to say, I want it to check this condition if shape is equal to 1 and it's equal to 2. And this is only true if 1 and 2 are both true. You can also use the OR symbol, which is that, and it'll basically check if shape is equal to 2. So it's going to check is shape equal to 1, do this, or if it's shape equal to 2, also do this. So these can be very helpful in MATLAB and allow you lots of flexibility. And that is the end of this lesson for selection statements.